Welcome back, everybody. Next, we're going to be talking about vocal range and vocal pitch and how to maximize your range of vocal pitch and where to speak in your range to get the most bang for your buck. Now, I want to start by saying that the science on this is pretty ambiguous. The only thing I can really tell you for certain is that people who speak in a wide variety of ranges when they're speaking tends to come across more charismatically than people who speak in a monotone. And I don't think that would be really that surprising. If I were to just speak with a monotone right now and all this was how I talked to you the entire time, this video probably wouldn't get much in the way of views, right? But if I'm a little bit more animated, if I'm using the tonality, the pitch of my voice to emphasize certain words as more important than others, then it comes across a lot more interesting. But here's the thing, right? It's like, it's the emphasis, it's the employment of the language that is, I think, the primary ingredient of this charisma here. It is not merely the fact that I am modulating my voice across different pitches. If all I did was just modulate the voice across many different pitches, this would not come across as particularly charismatic, right? It is not the modulation. It is the use of modulation for expression. And I'm not really sure how to teach you that skill in particular, because that varies from language to language. Different languages, like we have languages out there that are tonal languages, where the way that you articulate the pitch of the word changes the definition of the word. So how am I supposed to give you some universal principle about how to modulate the pitch of your voice to come across in a charismatic way in a language and culture that I don't even necessarily know myself? I can't do that for you. This is a wisdom that you're going to have to determine for yourself through your own observation and experimentation, and by examining movies in your culture, how people you know talk, what comes across to you as charismatic. Look at speeches spoken in your language. How do those people talk? That's something that you're just going to have to come to understand intuitively. But in this video, what I can do for you is I can teach you some vocal exercises to give you more freedom to express in the pitches that you want to express yourself in. So that's what we're going to talk about. So do you remember, back in the first video, we did the sighing exercise, the very breathy sigh that goes, and so on. And we practiced putting a little bit more engagement and a little bit more volume into that sigh. Well, for here, we're going to do something very similar, except this time we are going to make an active effort to go through our entire range with that sigh. So try and go from the very top of your range all the way to the bottom as well as you can. So something like, Now you may have noticed in my voice, and you're probably going to notice in your voice, that there's going to be certain cracks, like little interruptions in your voice as you go through that entire range. And that's completely normal. What those cracks are divisions between what's called your head voice, your falsetto, and your chest voice. That's the wrong order. Falsetto is highest, head voice is second highest, chest voice is lowest. And then of course fry tone is at the very bottom, but we're not going to be going into fry tone. And this is true in both men and women, by the way. Usually the falsetto is something mostly associated with men, but in women it's basically we just give them different names. It's head voice, mixed voice, chest voice, and then for men this is, I don't want to get too far afield in this because the naming of this is one of the most obnoxious things in vocal pedagogy. Suffice to say, you have 3 registers. You're probably never going to live in the highest one with normal speaking voice, but you're probably going to spend a fair amount of time in the lower voice and your middle voice, or your head voice. So, in terms of where you want to be spending most of your time, you probably want to be spending time in your chest voice. Now, how do you access your chest voice? Your chest voice should feel like you have some literal vibrations happening in your chest. When I am speaking right now, I can actually feel those vibrations in my chest. Likewise, when I'm speaking higher in my resonance, I can't actually feel it in my head, but those vibrations are completely absent in my chest right now. All of that resonance was happening inside of my head voice. Now, once again, the research on this is a little bit torn, but for men in particular, speaking with a lower resonance tends to come across as more masculine, more confident, and sexier. For women, it's a little bit more ambiguous, but even for women, in the context of making speeches at least, speaking in her chest voice tends to come across as more confident and more authoritative than speaking in one's head voice. Now, this could be confounding factors. This could be a matter of people are getting more volume in their chest voice. People who are more confident in public speaking tend to speak in their chest voices. I'm not sure about that, but the science is what it is, and this is what my personal experience is. So I'm going to recommend that most of the time you need to be speaking in your chest voice. And if you're having trouble accessing your chest voice, it is simply a matter of practice. Do these sighs. Do the all the way into your chest voice, all the way through your head voice. And if the chest voice is something that you have difficulty accessing, whenever you are doing your monologue practices for practicing getting into your mask or practicing any sort of support exercises you're working on, make it a point to do those monologues in your chest voice even if you are having trouble accessing it, because the more you speak in your chest voice and the more you can get comfortable relaxing into your chest voice, the more those muscles are going to strengthen, because these are actually muscles that we are working with here. It is a slightly different muscle group that engages the chest voice resonance inside of your throat as compared to when you are speaking in your head voice. It's a very subtle difference, but it is in fact different muscles and they can be strengthened. So the more time you spend speaking in your chest voice, the easier you are going to find it to continue speaking in your chest voice and speaking in it in more volume as those muscles get stronger. So these are literally workouts. When you are doing your vocal exercises for support, speak in your chest voice, or if you don't have a lot of ease accessing it, speak in your head voice so that those muscles are strengthened and you can access them at will. Now, when you are actually engaging in conversation, and especially if you are ever giving a speech, you want to practice engaging in your entire range of voice. You don't only want to be speaking in your chest voice the whole time. You want to be able to raise the pitch of your voice when there is something that you want to be emphasizing in that speech. And thus having the entire range of your voice, including your head voice available to you, is going to be a massive boon in your ability to express yourself the way you want to express yourself. And like I said before, I'm convinced that is the key to charisma, not simply falling within a given range and modulating your voice in a way that some scientific study indicated was beneficial. So, maximize your range, practice strengthening the region of your voice that you have the most trouble with, and just keep on doing that on a regular basis until things begin to improve. Like I said, this is biological, this is muscles, this is something that literally needs to be trained like a workout. Lastly, since we are on the topic of pitch, I want to point out one particular thing that you want to address, and that is if you are practicing a high-rising terminal. Now, if I were to make these videos, and I were to just keep ending all of my sentences with an upswing of pitch at the end, I come across a lot less confident. I come across like I'm always asking questions, that I'm unsure of myself, and this is a habit that you want to abandon. You'll probably notice in all of my videos here, whenever I am making points, unless I am asking a particular question, I am always dropping the pitch at the ends of my sentences. This is probably just a cultural thing, but it is a cultural thing that suggests confidence and assertiveness and knowledgeability in the subject. I will come across more confidently while doing this, and so do you. So anytime you are making a statement, you are not asking a question, you're speaking English, and you're making a statement, you want to either keep the pitch level, like start and end your sentence at the same pitch, or else lower the pitch at the end, because that is going to come across as more confident and less like you're begging somebody to give you attention. All right, that's all I have to say on pitch. Let's move on.